I got to race the new Korean Mach Frame. So yes, I got to race this car as well as the Hurricane Sonic this past Friday at SideBite, and yeah, it was their first Friday race in a while, or maybe first time ever, I'm not sure. But yeah, normally they have their Thursday night races, but because of the Halloween festivities on Thursday, they decided to push the race up to Friday for people. So yeah, pretty darn cool. So there were a lot of people there. There were like 54 cars in box stock. That was like tremendous, tremendous competition there. So yeah, unfortunately, neither of my two cars got into the finals, but oh well, that's the way the ball bounces. Yeah, these cars ended up coursing out in inopportune times. This car got into the semifinals once. This car got into the semifinals, I believe, 3 times. And yeah, they were surely fast enough, but they coursed out during their semifinals races. Yeah, unfortunately. So some of you might ask, like, what's the difference between this car, the Korean Mach Frame version 2, versus this car, the Korean Mach Frame version 1? So here we have the Korean Mach Frame version 1. It's got a solid white body underneath its stickers. And this one, even though I don't have any stickers on it, got one little sticker that's right underneath the hood right here. This has a clear body. It's like a translucent / clear body. And so yeah, it's see-through. And here's the thing. Even with this see-through body, which you would think might be a little less in weight than this one actually weighs half a gram more than this car. Yeah, for whatever reason, half a gram more. So what does that mean exactly, folks? It means that there's going to be different characteristics with this car versus this car. So yeah, this being a little bit heavier, you have to control the weight a little bit better. So you might need to remove some parts off of the cowl so that you can get like a bare bones car if you want to have it to be less weight. If you want it to be more weight, more than your standard Korean Mach Frame, then you have all the parts, all 3, or was it 4 parts? There's the main part, yes, 4 parts. The side, the back fin, and the front nose. 4 parts to the Mach Frame cowl. And you can adjust them in any different way. You can decide to paint them if you want. If you paint your parts, that's going to add a little bit of weight to the car as well. So you can also try adjusting your front brake. You can have the screws up top here or on the bottom. You can secure them on the top or the bottom. So yeah, and you can also try reversing the rollers so that the fat rollers, the wide rollers, are in the front and the narrow rollers are in the rear. So you can try various things like that to try to adjust the characteristics of your car. So yeah, I decided to keep it as it is, and I did something to the front brake. I did not put it in the rear, because putting it in the rear, that makes it illegal, right? There's going to be so little clearance underneath here if you put it in the rear. So don't do that. So I placed it elsewhere on the car, and I meant to use it as a stabilizer so that the rollers won't bend inward. So yeah, this chassis here is the same crappy chassis that you get from the Korean Mach Frame version 1. The same dark blue chassis that has kind of a soft, gushy, mushy kind of feel to it. And yeah, it's just so fragile compared to other mini 4-wheel drive cars out there that once you course out and you crash this car into something, you'll basically bust the roller mount or you'll bend it severely. So you have to be careful not to course out with this car. So there's not much you can do about that if you're running on a track where it's challenging and this thing is prone to course out. So you have to make sure that you adjust the battery voltage low enough so that the car stays on the track and is fast enough to beat all the other cars. Now, with these low friction tires and the carbon wheels, this surely is going to be faster than your average mini 4-wheel drive car, no doubt. And if you break in the engine properly, you're going to get a really fast car with this. Yeah, and this being relatively lightweight compared to other cars, it's a pretty fast car. There are many other cars out there that weigh less than this, and many other cars that weigh more than this. But there is a reason why a lot of people love Mach Frames, and that's because it uses the FMA chassis, and so the motor is in the front. So when you're doing jumps, there's more of a tendency to arc when you're jumping off of an incline. Whereas on a rear-mounted engine, this is not so much of a trajectory as Mach Frames are. Mach Frames are going to nose dip better than rear-mounted engines, like you see here. Now, the big problem with the Hurricane Sonic, the AR chassis, it looks like the AR chassis will withstand a lot of battle damage in its rollers, the front rollers. But the truth of the matter is, these front rollers can crack easily when this hits something. So when this courses out and hits a wall or something or the ground, then yeah, one of your roller mounts will crack quite easily. So you have to basically reinforce it with super glue or do some things to it. Like you might have to put some super glue inside the hole and then reattach the roller to it and hope for the best. Or you have to replace the entire chassis with a new one. And yeah, that gets expensive after a while, continuing to replace the chassis again and again and again so that you can race your AR car. But AR cars are known for their speed, especially around very solid, stable tracks, like wooden tracks, for example. So the AR chassis is really good with wooden tracks, so I recommend it highly. A lot of people were wondering how I was able to get this car to stay on the track. Even though this is the Hurricane Sonic with a polycarbonate body, a lot of people had better luck with other AR cars, such as the Aerovante, for example. And the way that I got it to stay on the track is I had to dumb down the battery voltage a lot so that it could stay on the track. But I had to make it just fast enough so that I would be able to go faster than most people. Unfortunately, I have like several races where I'm clearly faster than other cars. I'm clearly well ahead of other cars. And then it just courses out at the weirdest times. It's just like uncanny why it doesn't want to stay on the track for my final potential win. And that's a very frustrating thing, but it just happens. That's the way the ball bounces sometimes. Sometimes you're just unlucky in a race, sadly. So the good news is my colleague, my McBite colleague Will, who placed on the podium in my Autumn Cup Liberty Cup race, also got on the podium this time around. He won gold place in box stock. Pretty darn cool. So technically that car is like slower than my car, but it's more stable than my car. So yeah, I saw some Mach frames, some regular standard Mach frames, and they were able to get into the finals also. So yeah, you don't want to race things that are way too fancy, I suppose, in certain tracks. You want to make sure that you have your solid bread and butter cars racing on the tracks. And yeah, so long as you dumb down the battery voltage just enough so that you stay on the track and up the battery voltage just enough so that you're competitive with other cars, then you'll be able to do really well. Yeah. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay for tune class because it was already around, 10:15, 10:30 at the time that I left, and I had to teach yoga the next morning. So it would have been cool to see how my tune class cars would have fared against the competition. So there was some seriously awesome competition there as well, and one of my McBite colleagues, Joe, won bronze in that. So yes, congratulations to both my McBite colleagues for box stock and tune class at SideBite this month. So the next race coming up, there is the Liberty Cup indoor race at my place. And yeah, it promises to be super, super fun. A very interesting track I've set up. It's got a little mini tabletop. It's got a lot of over and unders, and yeah, over and underpasses, that is. A lot of twists and turns. Yeah, it's going to be a fun track. 65 meters, and we're running 6 laps on it. Pretty darn cool. And prizes galore. The same kinds of prizes that you would see in the major events out there. Yes, so you're going to win car kits, you're going to win parts, you're going to win various promotional items. Very, very cool. So everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.